biggest question everybody has, of course, is the pandemic and COVID. And, you know, how is the Ladysmith District Credit Union doing in this environment?
We're doing excellent, as a matter of fact. We can separate it into two different aspects. How are we performing under normal quantitative methodologies and ratios, and how are we doing from a human resources perspective? So quantitatively speaking, we were very well positioned to take advantage of lower interest rates. Not that we anticipated a pandemic and that interest rates would crash, but because of what happened, we are probably having our best year in our history financially. So our financial margin is very, very strong, which was definitely an unforeseen aspect of this pandemic. The other thing that's been a great surprise, and I don't want to sound like I'm jumping around, but when you do disaster planning, you know, we plan for computer failures, we plan for, you know, a run on the organization. You know, we didn't specifically plan for a pandemic, but if we had specifically planned for a pandemic, there would be some things that we would have planned for. We would have planned for slowing or negative asset growth. We would have planned for a much, much tighter financial margin. We would have planned for, let's say, minimal or negative loan growth. We would have planned for liquidity shortages because you anticipate people would have been taking all their money out. And we definitely would have been planning for higher delinquency. And I can tell you unequivocally, none of that happened. So that's the joy of planning, and you know, we're required to do disaster planning, and it just goes to show you really have no idea. So you know, one of the reasons is, you know, significant government intervention. So that's created immense liquidity. People are saving more than they ever have, unless they're buying toilet paper. So again, in reference to planning for something like a pandemic, our best loan growth year was in 2016, and we grew by $12.5 million. It appears that in 2020, we will grow by close to $22 million.
Wow, that's like almost double, right?
Yeah, in a pandemic. It's
in a pandemic.
Unbelievable. But you know, it's not just limited to loans. Our entire asset base is up. We are now at about just shy of $285 million of assets under administration. We have had a phenomenal year. All aspects of our organization grew: assets, deposits, loans, and at the same time, we're doing it all with probably the best year of operating income that we've had in our history. Part of it is this amazing, amazing staff that we've assembled here. The way that they have faced the pandemic, you know, I think that we have worked really hard in our security protocols and make sure that they feel safe, they feel protected. For me personally, one of my biggest struggles is the things that we are well known for supporting have not been available to us. Ladysmith Days, Light Up Night, you know, presenting our bursaries at the high school is a highlight for me.
Yeah. Going back to the human resources and how, you know, the staff stepped up to the plate. Was the credit union ever closed at all during the pandemic?
No.
So you're one of the few businesses that I'm aware of that never missed a beat.
Yeah, the credit union downstairs, our main branch, never closed. I'm very proud of that. I'm proud of my staff. You know, they were right there in the front line.
Let's talk about the Ladysmith District Credit Union and its unique position as being one of the very few independent credit unions out there. And, you know, from all accounts, getting stronger and more vibrant and being so vital to the community.
It goes along with what I was saying earlier about our ability and opportunity to continue to support the community the way we have had for decades. We haven't had the opportunity to do as much financially as we've done in the past. So Ladysmith Days, Light Up Night didn't happen, but we found other things to support. So yes, we did give the $10,000 to the downtown bathroom project, the Kinsman. And we most recently gave a $5,000 donation to the food bank. So we had heard that the food bank, the demand was up about just over 50% since the pandemic started, and donations were down. So, you know, it was kind of the perfect storm for them. And I was reading an article in the CBC that said a lot of charities are struggling this year because their traditional fundraising events tend to be gatherings. So when we heard that, we had a discussion around the board table and we decided we needed to do something. And so we made a $5,000 donation. And it's, I think, you know, some definitely accountants would probably say that this isn't correct, but from a leadership perspective, and I've now been at the credit union for more than 25 years, the social responsibility that we have is embedded in the fabric of this credit union. And I think that's a contributor to our success. And people might say, well, you know, how do you quantify that? And honestly, Marina, I can't quantify that. But I can look at what we've done in the community over the years and seen our ability to maintain our independence and remain financially sound and continue to grow. And I see so many other credit unions that can't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they talk about size bringing economies of scale. So Island Savings was, you know, $1 billion organization, and they merged. So, you know, so they were way bigger than us. And supposedly their feeling was long term, they wouldn't be viable. And we have no such feelings, you know, and I can be honest and say that we are not burying our heads in the sand. You know, we talk about it all the time. Can we be viable? Can we remain the organization that we need to be for our members and our community? And the answer so far has always been yes.
Looking to the future post-pandemic, what do you see in the future, going short-term, long-term? I mean, are you able to make any predictions like that, John?
Let's think about last December and what anyone would have predicted for 2020. We wouldn't have got it right.
No.
So it definitely makes you realize that our ability to predict is limited at best, but I'll try. Interest rates will remain low. Housing market is going to remain very strong. The migration, I will say, provincial and interprovincial migration to the island is going to be really strong in the next 3 to 5 years, I would predict. We've got a lot of baby boomers retiring. We got a lot of people that might not have been thinking about retiring. This pandemic is now making them think about retiring. We have people that can work from home more so than we ever have before, going, well, if I can work from home, I can be anywhere. So let's Google best climate in Canada. What comes up? Vancouver Island. Oh, let's Google how Vancouver Island is handling the pandemic. Holy cow, there's hardly any. Let's go. So I predict that interprovincial migration will remain high. Ladysmith itself will continue to grow. We are centrally located. We are a convenient distance from Nanaimo or Victoria, from ferries, from airports, and we are less expensive. As soon as you go south past Duncan to Maple Bay, Mill Bay, Victoria, way more expensive. As soon as you get to Nanaimo and north to Parksville Qualicum, even Courtney Comox, more expensive. So not to use an overused word a lot, but we're in this little bubble here in Ladysmith and our surrounding area where prices are still relatively good. I was on the phone with our regulators last week, and I was talking about, houses in the $500,000 range moving so quickly, and they're going, "You can get a house for $500,000?" And I go, "Yes, you can in Ladysmith." So that might be a foreign concept to people that live on the Lower Mainland, but it's still a reality here. So I predict, we definitely have 3 to 5 more years of good, solid growth, as long as we don't have too much bureaucracy from town administration, and prices remain stable. They are rising, but not astronomically. So in 2016, the last time we had a housing boom, prices really went up, but they aren't. They're up a bit, but you can still buy a brand new house for $600,000, give or take, in the Sunset Woods, Russell Roads development. So that's what I see. I see changes coming in the insurance industry with ICBC, so that will be a challenge. And we'll see how that plays out. We'll have to wait and see if the vaccine is going to get us back to a sense of normal, or in 2021 we will finally sort of come to grips with whatever our new normal is. Here at Ladysmith, we've spent many years creating what we call, I hate to say it this way, it sounds so cliche, one-stop financial services center. So you can come here and get a mortgage, you can get insurance, you can get wealth management services. We have a lawyer in one of our buildings for doing conveyancing. So everything that's needed to be done, you can do here. And I think that's helped us in 2020 in that, our insurance division is having a record year, the best year they've ever had. Wealth management is having their best year they ever had. We've created an entity where we are touching so many aspects of financial services that, one year one might not do as well, another year the other one might be doing really well. And that's created tremendous value for us. 2020 just happens to be the year where every single aspect of our business is having a fabulous year. But the fact that we have built this organization that just doesn't offer checking accounts and mortgages anymore, we offer so much more. And I think that's been a hallmark of our success. We support the community, we do our things because we believe they're the right things to do, not because it makes business sense, or my advertising agency was always saying, "Gee, well, when we do have that booth at Ladysmith Days, we should have documentation there for them to open accounts." And I'd say, no, that is not the purpose of why we do it. We're doing it there to create memories for families and give families something to do and bring joy and happiness. Definitely in the last 15 years, we've given well over $1 million in donations and sponsorships to our community, and that's really important to us. And if I could say something specifically to the residents of our community, as long as you continue to support us, we can continue to support our community. And that's why our tagline says, "Our community, your credit union." So that's a great way to end it. Our tagline. Michael would be so proud.